Tax time, why spending to save tax is a trap. Join the bucket list accountant himself, David Patterson, as we explore how to make smarter end of financial year decisions without falling into the trap of spending money just to save tax. Learn why your business goals should drive your spending decisions, discover how bringing forward planned investments can support genuine growth, and gain insights into avoiding costly mistakes around car purchases, equipment upgrades, and last-minute marketing pressure. This episode provides a practical framework for using tax time as an opportunity to strengthen your business and move closer to your bucket list goals. I'm your co-host Anthony Pearl. Let's dive into making your bucket list happen.
David, let's turn our attention to tax time. It is always a hot topic for everyone. It's the time of year where we start seeing lots of ads on TV. It's end of financial year, come and buy this and that, and they're enticing you into these different things. And often we think of it in terms of personal items, but there's an opportunity, isn't there, to utilize this to tick off bucket list items for your business.
Yeah, there is, Anthony. And traditionally, tax time is about spending money to save tax. And I've had many examples of clients who have spent money with the only goal of saving tax, which, I mean, I'm an accountant and saving people tax is one of the parts of the job. But saving tax, spending money for the sake of saving tax to me has never made sense. $100 spent to save $35 to $40 in tax has never made a lot of sense to me. But if you can take advantage of 30 June and be spending money on things that are going to help improve your business and maybe bring that cost forward, like it might be something that you're going to do in September, for example. Let's bring that forward to June and take advantage of the tax deduction. But it's on something that you're going to spend money on at a point in time that was going to improve the business.
Yeah, and I think that's the trick here, isn't it? To use it as an impetus to maybe make a decision now to buy something because there's a slight advantage to it. Not that the advantage is the main driver, more that it's an opportunity to look at the bucket list and go, well, it's just that little cherry on top, which gives it the nudge to say, let's do it now.
Oh, 100%. And, that it could be that leading into 30 June, people are having specials or sales. Officeworks is a prime one. You see them advertising all the time coming up to the end of financial year. There's something you're going to buy anyway. Buying it before 30 June gives you the tax deduction. Also, potentially, you're getting it at a slightly cheaper amount because people are giving a slight discount to try and get your money in the door before 30 June for them.
I think the important thing here is actually understanding what your business needs first. And that can look like all sorts of things, right? Because people tend to think, because you're led by the advertising, more of the bigger ticket items or the stuff that might be more physical and making a difference. It could, as you talk about Officeworks, it might be, new desks or a new computer. But there's a lot of other things that can help the business that might be the right time to actually pull the lever and actually do that. And it could be one-off items that could involve doing something for all of the team. There's many possibilities that can help the business because sometimes just offering that little bit of assistance, taking them out for a meal or, getting some massages or whatever it might be that works for your team is enhancing them, enhancing the experience they have, enhances the output that they're going to have in the business, enhances the fact that they'll probably stay longer in the business. All of those things can be very much net positives in the longer run. They're not necessarily, as you talk about, necessarily just straight dollars and cents.
Oh, 100%. And any of those things where it makes the team, everyone, you, the owner, the team, it makes them feel better, makes them feel wanted and needed. All of that sort of stuff can be really key drivers to making the business go better. And again, back to the tax deduction element of it, using that 30 June as the opportunity to say, okay, we were going to do this in August, September, October, whatever the case may be. Let's bring it forward, which means that your team get the experience sooner. So they get the benefit out of that. The business then gets the benefit of the increased enthusiasm around it. And you've been able to bring that tax deduction in at the time. But the whole part of it is more about business growth than the tax deduction. The tax deductions become a bonus, an added benefit of doing what you've just done. And even things like biting the bullet and hiring the business coach and getting that in before June and cash flow permitting, paying for the 12 months. You were going to do it. You were thinking of do it in August, September, bring it forward, sign it up, pay for 12 months and get the big tax deduction now. But again, it's a cost that you're incurring that's going to, well, it's more an investment that you've incurred that's going to improve and help the business in the long run.
And I think there's often a focus on some of these bigger ticket items as along the way. And a part of that's because of the advertising, and part of that's because of government incentives that have existed at various times that have said, right, you've got a certain amount that you can spend and get a tax deduction for. And that's great when that happens. But again, people see okay, I've got X amount to spend, but doesn't mean that you have to look at one big ticket item just because there might be an incentive to spend $30,000 doesn't mean you have to go and buy a car.
No, and I don't think the incentive that the government had with the 100% tax deduction on equipment, cars, any form of equipment, had a lot of people going out and buying cars, buying tractors, buying whatever, because they were getting 100% tax deduction for it. Now, the 100% tax deduction was great, but unless you needed the car, unless you needed the tractor, unless it's going to improve things, you've still outlaid more money than what you're getting as a tax deduction. So it still, to me, always comes back to, is the new car going to help in any way? And it may just be, like, there's nothing wrong with going, well, I've had this old car for 6 years. I just want a new car. That's great. Let's take advantage of it. And it's filled a need beyond just the tax deduction because you've just felt like you wanted to treat yourself to a new car. No problem. Don't just buy the new car because you're getting 100% tax deduction if you bought a car 2 years ago, because you're out of pocket from a cash flow perspective. I think all these decisions still need to be made around, is it going to help improve my business? Is it going to make my business better? Or in the car perspective, is it just something, don't make a decision for a tax deduction.
I think we're led astray by a lot of thinking that isn't relevant to small business. For example, in the corporate world, you often hear departments saying, well, we have to spend our budget before the 30th of June because if we don't, we won't get allocated the same budget next year. And we can debate the wrongs and rights of that, but when it comes to small business, that's not a sense of thinking that comes into it, because at the end of the day, most of the small businesses, the owner is central figure to that. And whether he spends the money or doesn't spend the money might be the difference as how much profit he's taking home.
100%. And you're right, the marketing and all this stuff, April, May, June, it's almost saying you have to do this. Otherwise, your business is going to suffer because you haven't got the tax deduction. And I'm probably going to repeat myself, but it's all, to me, still around, will this expense I'm about to incur make my business better? If the answer to that is yes, do it. And if you've got expenditure that you're looking at in the next 2 to 3 months after June, look at it. Can I afford to bring it forward? If the answer is yes, do it. And the tax deduction, again, as I've said, becomes more of a bonus than the main purpose behind incurring that expenditure in the first place. I think the more that you can get that thinking into your brain, the better off you're going to be in the long run.
Hey everyone, just a reminder, check out the show notes. There is lots of information in there, including a link you can click on to download a workbook from this episode, dedicated to just this episode, and it will have information about all of the tips and tricks that David has given in the episode, things for you to fill in and think about so you are on your journey for your bucket list, action steps, as well as some key takeaways and quotes from the episode. So you don't want to miss that one. Please go and check it out in the show notes. A reminder again at the end of the episode, but it's one not to miss.
Yeah, and I think that's such an important aspect of all of this is changing the way you think and having those real conversations in advance, right? I think it's, again, the advertising lure. It might start happening, 4 weeks out from the end of financial year, maybe even 6. But sometimes those decisions need to be thought about and worked out well in advance of that process. You shouldn't make a rash decision. Someone that goes out on the 28th of June and says, I've got 2 days to go and buy this, I'm going to go buy it now. It's usually a decision you're going to regret at some point very soon.
100%. And it comes back to the importance, and this is what we're doing, is effectively planning all this stuff 12 months of the year. So we have a 12-month goal of what we're trying to achieve. And so as we're going along, we're doing the things that we need to do to improve rather than waiting to a date set by the government as far as 30 June goes to make a decision. We're making those decisions right throughout the year based on what's the best outcome and what does the business need to improve. So from that perspective, we're kind of tax planning 12 months of the year rather than the last 2 or 3 months.
Yeah. So when it comes to all of this, I mean, again, it's something that we've talked about in previous episodes, this whole idea of having a trusted advisor around you, because this is something that involves planning, not being I'm going to fall for a marketing line.
Absolutely. And if you've done the planning, you're less likely to fall prey to the market. And let's face it, some of that marketing is very, very good. And it makes you feel like if I don't do this, I'm going to go down the Googler. Like, it's so well done that you feel like you have to do it. But if you've got the plan and you understand where you're heading and what you've got to do, you're less likely to fall into that trap.
Yeah. And I think that's an important avenue for people to pursue with their trusted advisor, is having that strength of knowing what you can say yes to and what you can't say yes to. I mean, there always has to be some form of discretion. Let's face it, we're all victims of some of the marketing.
Absolutely.
And some of the marketing, as you say, is great. I mean, how many of us are strict enough when we go to the supermarket and go to shopping and don't pick up something that wasn't on the list originally?
Oh, 100%. There's absolutely nothing wrong with just a purchase off the cuff. Absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. But again, you're doing that from a personal perspective. You just, like I said with the car, you just might want a new car. That's fine. Understand in the grand scheme of things what that means. If you want a new car, buy a new car. If it gives you a tax deduction, great. But the main purpose has to be either a business-related thing or, like you said, just a personal decision that's what I want to do. That's great. In both cases, the tax deduction, to me, is almost a bonus. It's an added extra.
So tell me, let's pluck out some of the good and the bad decisions that you've seen made when it's come to end of financial year. I bet you've seen some doozies, and I bet you've seen a few really great decisions that have been made.
I think, yeah, some of the worst decisions, and this is just from a lack of understanding, is around car purchases. And the reason I say that is car purchases, there's a limit on how much you can claim for some vehicles. Someone's gone out and bought a car for $150,000 thinking that they could get that whole car as a tax deduction. The reality is that you can only get a certain level, and it's changed over the years, but it's around the $60,000 odd mark at the minute that you can claim as a tax deduction for a car. There's certain exceptions to that, but in the whole, anything over that, you can't claim. And so I've had many clients come and say, well, I've bought this car, it's 150 grand. I'll be able to claim that as a tax deduction, won't I? You'll be able to claim part of it as a tax deduction. What do you mean, And suddenly they've bought this car with the main aim of getting a big tax deduction, and they've suddenly realised I'm not going to get anywhere near as much as I was thinking I would get. So then that purchase has they've kind of then begrudged that purchase. And so suddenly the enjoyment of the car's gone because not bought it for the right purpose. Cars are always that downside. A win on equipment purchases, I think there's a lot of those, and the government gave a lot of people a lot of opportunities when you could claim 100% tax deduction to upgrade some equipment that badly needed upgrading. So, they were some good wins that we can't get anymore. They've changed the rules, but when they were made because the farmers had the tractor for 30 years and suddenly here's a great opportunity to get a brand new one and get some benefit as well, it's a win for everyone.
It's a really interesting time of year, I think, with this, and it's often taken up with a lot of negatives as well, isn't it? It's tax time on. There's just, and you see all sorts of people that are in business, whether they're accountants, going, "Oh no, it's a mad rush, and I've got to get everything done." But as you say, it can be a great opportunity, and it's a great opportunity not because of the small tax advantage that may or may not be had, but because there are sales, there are avenues to do it, and it is look, we need to get some stuff into the business, done for the business.
Yep.
Well, let's look at that and say, well, everyone is out there offering stuff, so let's jump on that bandwagon because we know that we need X, Y, Z. We know that there's this much available in cash flow to make that possible. So let's jump on and do that.
Absolutely. It's a great opportunity to bring forward and take advantage of it now because of the 30 June deadline. So if you're planning on doing something, bring that forward, and then you get the benefit and the advantage of that for a few extra months than what you would have done. So it's a great time to do that. Absolutely.
So just to wrap things up, for those of people that are listening, and we hope you're not listening on the 28th of June or the 30th of June, that'd be even worse. So as long as you're listening well before that, the question that you need to answer is what are the steps that people need to take immediately to say, okay, is there something I can take advantage of at this tax time? What are the first things they need to do before they get to the point where they make the purchase?
I think it's about having a think about what the business needs to make the business better. And if that's new computer equipment, if that's a new piece of equipment, a new car, if there's things that they need to make the business better, start to have a look now. And like you said, hopefully they're not listening on the 28th of June or the 1st of July. Start having a look now at where you can get that stuff. Look at who's having discounts or sales or whatever leading up to 30 June. And be able to make a decision that's an informed decision, not a rushed end of June decision.
Look at things that might also help your team, that ultimately will help your business go better and may help you as an individual. And as we started in the beginning, that may be a business coach. It may be taking people out for dinner, whatever it might be. If it's going to make an impact on the business, take advantage.
Absolutely.
The Bucket List Accountant podcast is brought to you by David Patterson and his team at Bucket List Accountant. Go and visit their website for more information, details of course in the show notes. I'm Anthony Pearl, your host from Podcast Done For You. We look forward to having your company in the next episode.